In 2018, if you had checked my phone, you would have found that I had more than 100 WhatsApp groups only to manage the affairs of my company. So I was running a startup, and as you can imagine, there are lots of things to be done, multiple teams, so much of coordination. You have to give instructions, approvals. And every time I had to do some work or do some coordination, I had a very standard response: create one more WhatsApp group. Now, this seemed okay. It was a great solution. Things were moving, and you send a message, people respond on WhatsApp. But then I gradually started noticing something, which was that I was checking my phone every few minutes, every 10 minutes, sometimes even every 5 minutes. I would just go and check. And in my mind, I had a perfect rationalization. I'm doing it because it is work. My startup has to run. I have to be on top of things. But then, when I started introspecting and asking myself, honestly, is that why I'm checking my phone? Every time, do I have to check it every 10 minutes? And then, gradually, as I reflected, I realized that I was checking not because I had to check every 10 minutes, I was checking because my hand would automatically go towards my phone without even realizing. It had become a habit, and it became such a habit that at some point I felt like I practically had no control. I'm sitting in the car and getting bored. What happens? My hand will move towards the phone. WhatsApp is open. Waiting at the airport, you don't know what to do? Open the phone. It just became a reflex response. Getting bored, WhatsApp. Getting frustrated, WhatsApp. Confused with something, just WhatsApp. This was what my life was. And I guess a lot of us are living that life. Now, is that a problem? I realized it was a problem. Because at some point, it was becoming very hard to focus. Because every 10 minutes, if I am going to stop my work or just interrupt myself to check WhatsApp, how will I be able to do anything with full and deep focus? And remember, at least I can share my experience. Anything useful that I've done in my life, I have done only when I'm able to focus for hours and hours at a time, whether it is getting into a good college or getting into civil services or doing any difficult job. It requires intense focus for long periods of time. And I had done that in the past, but I felt like maybe could I have done it again? And that was a big question. And when the answer seemed like no, it's sort of scaring me. And then the question I asked myself was, how did this happen? How did I get here? Because this was not my intention. When I downloaded WhatsApp and started using it, what was my intention? I wanted to use it obviously to connect with some friends, like all of us do, but also to manage my work. But here is what happened. I think when I look back inside my brain, this is what probably was happening, which is in the beginning, when I was using WhatsApp, let's say I send a message to somebody, I get a response. I want some work done, I send an instructions, and immediately somebody from my team responds. So whenever I send a message, WhatsApp gets you very, very fast response. People just get back to you very quickly. And every time that happens, what you feel good. You feel that sense of reward, like you wanted to get something done, mission accomplished. And whenever we have that sense of, yes, I got it done, what happens? In my brain, and in fact in your brain, there is something which happens chemically. When we have the sense of accomplishment, sense of this, yes, I did it, or sense of like something good happened, our brain says, you know what, don't forget this. Next time, do it again. And to remember that, what our brain does is it releases a chemical. In our brain, there is a chemical called dopamine. So the dopamine level goes up, and it is our brain's way of telling us, you know what, do it again. So think of it this way: D for dopamine, D for do it again. It creates a craving or a motivation to do that task again. So now, as I kept using WhatsApp more and more, every time I use WhatsApp, my brain will release that chemical dopamine. I feel like, no, I should do it one more time. I should do it again and again. But here is the dangerous part. As I kept using WhatsApp again and again, my brain was able to see this pattern. In fact, your brain is able to see this pattern that, look, whenever you use WhatsApp, you get a reward, you feel good, you're able to get some work done, you're able to get some reply from somebody, you're able to make a human connection. And then something starts changing. When your brain knows that checking WhatsApp will get you a reward, moment you get bored, your brain does not wait for you to check WhatsApp. It knows that the reward is coming. And our brain has one more feature. It can release dopamine in anticipation. Okay, the reward has not come, but you're getting bored and your brain has already released some dopamine in your brain, and our dopamine level is high. And what does dopamine do? Remember, I told you, D for dopamine, D for do it again. It creates the craving to act. That is why when you get bored, you feel like something inside, there's an agitation inside you. It's almost like there's an itch which you have to scratch. If you don't scratch, it makes you very uncomfortable. That's why it's happening. In some sense, you could say it's not your fault. There is a chemical in your brain which is making you act. And that is why I was checking my smartphone and my WhatsApp every 5-10 minutes. And it all started with this excuse that I'm doing it for work. But then I realized that this could not have gone on. I remember that day, there was a day I started reading this book called Deep Work. Author is Cal Newport. It's a wonderful book. And in that book, Cal Newport says something very simple. He says, in today's age, we create value only when we do deep work. And what is deep work? Deep work is when you are working on something which is important for you and you work for long periods of time without any distraction, with full focus, no distraction. And I thought, I'm distracted all the time. How can I do deep work? And then here's the thing that happened. I read the book, I loved the concept, and I wanted to implement it. But what happened? Nothing happened. Why? Because of my smartphone. This habit of constantly checking it. And then one day I was thinking, is this how I'll waste my life? After having gone through lots of ups and downs and challenges and having pushed myself to achieve difficult things, any exam I've taken up, I've struggled really hard, I've gotten things done. And then I'm going to accept defeat before WhatsApp? It was a devastating thought. And then it so happened that one day I just met a guy through a mutual friend. And this guy, we had a phone call, and when we were disconnecting, I asked him, hey, can I reach out to you? Give me a WhatsApp number. And he said, Rajan, I don't use WhatsApp. And I was like, wow, so you don't use WhatsApp? So how do you manage? He said, no, people have to call me. They will call me or email me. And then, believe it or not, I started envying that guy. I was like, wow, I wanted to be like him. And then I thought, and I asked myself the question. I asked, why can't I be like him? Can I give up WhatsApp? But no, it's like such a big thing. I'm running my company. Everything is there. But then, you know what? You get to live only once. It's like you have a revolver which has got just one bullet. Life is like that one bullet. You fire it once, it's over. Then I figured I did not want to waste my life. And then one day, I think one of the best days of my life, I told myself, you know what? Let's delete WhatsApp, and I will check it every 15-20 days. So I deleted WhatsApp. And then after 15 or 20 days, I checked again and I saw these dozens of messages. And seeing those messages, I was again reminded of that horror. And I said, no, this is not what I want. And then I deleted it again. And this time I said, no more checking 15-20 days. It's over. It's been more than a year. And I can tell you with utmost sincerity, I can say it with my hand on my heart. That was the smartest thing I've done. I'm not saying everyone should do that. Everyone should quit WhatsApp. No, not really. It's a useful app. You have to find your way. All of us, we have to find our way to handle these things. But I can tell you one thing. Remember, that revolver with just one bullet. Your life is that one bullet. You fire it once, it's gone. This is the only chance. How do you want to use it? I want to make sure that when I fire that bullet, it hits the target. I'm sure you want the same thing, right? If yes, then we have to stop this. This thing cannot claim our life. Don't let it happen. Find your way, but don't fall in this trap. get out of this trap. At least I was able to do that. And today, I'm a happy man. Yes, I still have distractions. There are other things as well, but that one thing, I'm out of it. I hope you found this useful, and I hope this will inspire you and motivate you to start reclaiming your life back. And I would like to thank you for listening to this video. And if you found it useful, subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you soon. And one more thing, I conduct weekly workshops, often on topics like focus, distraction, beating distractions, meditation, and helping build habits which can change our life. If you want to attend those workshops, I'll leave a link for you here. And I hope to see you soon in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.